and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to not just the next season. Welcome back to the grand finals here of the RSL, the Rival StarCraft League 2025. I'm of course your co-host Live VIP. We of course co-streaming. We're co-streaming the event. We do have Tosis live at the venue in South Korea. I'll be honest, I didn't even know that Artosis was going to be there. So a very pleasant surprise here as Artosis is going to be stepping into the casting couch once again after a very, very long hiatus. Is going to be joining Tasteless and with I'm sure some of the other RSL casters like Gemini, like State, and like Sturgeon as well. So best of luck to all those working at the event itself. Of course, it's going to be a 2-day event, 2 days of StarCraft, 2 days of RSL. We do have day 1, which is today, which is the qualifier, and day 2 is going to be the grand finals, the playoff bracket with our top 4 players. We have the top 3. We have Classic, Zound, and Hero making it through the 3 seasons of RSL, and they'll be joined by one other player. Oh boy, a player that we confirmed today. So today it's going to be one massive bracket. I'm sure they're going to have a graphic to showcase the bracket itself. And we have the Patreon as well, !RSL in the chat to support the event, to support the Revival StarCraft League. And yeah, really cool to see that Artosis is there. Pleasant surprise. Again, I believe the venue is actually the same GOMT. Is it the same GOMTV venue? A little bit uncertain, but I know it is in Korea. It is in Seoul, of course, or at least I think Gangnam actually, or at least in that area. And yeah, looks to be a lot of really good matches tonight. And of course, throughout the course of the weekend, we did, of course, move Sparkling Tuna Cup tomorrow to Tuesday to not clash with RSL. And yeah, I mean, we have players traveling from all over the world as well. We mentioned this last night or two nights ago during the podcast, but it is really cool to see Streamer Zone support their players. Streamer Zone, they did fly a bunch of their players over to the Americas for Stellarfest and for SC for All, and the same thing happened here where they flew a bunch of players over to compete in this event as well, to compete in the RSL. Specifically referring to Geralt and Jimmy. Geralt and Jimmy, they flew over from their respective countries in Europe over to Korea to compete. Let's go. Let us go.
Yeah, and that's actually a really, really nice match that we're going to.
Oh, we have the bracket
here with. You know, Bunny and Ryung are both very strong players, but Ryung kind of a sniper in the match.
I think their audio is a little bit low.
I think that this was a great first choice, and might be one of the only Terran versus Terrans that we managed to end up.
Oh, there we go. So it looks like they're going to be casting the TvT. They're going to be jumping into Bunny versus Ryung first. And you have the entirety of the round 16. You have Bunny versus Ryung, Kira versus Geralt, Shin versus SOS, Solar versus Rex, Creator versus Nightmare, Rainer versus Jumi, and Trigger versus Percival. Personally, I would have avoided the TvT and gone for Trigger versus Percival. That looks like a lot of fun. Some NA versus Korea, but I think they really want to focus on Maru.
Ryung could make a run through this bracket and really mess things up for a lot of the other strong players. And then you look.
Sorry, it's just dying a little bit. But yeah, I guess we'll be setting our stream up for Bunny versus Ryung. We'll get there. Also, hello everyone. Hello. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're having a great weekend. Great weekend as we're nearing the end of the year. Team Falcons and Team Vitality. Round of 16. When it comes to the format, the round 16 is going to be best of 5. So we have best of 5s in the round 16, best of 5s in the quarterfinals, best of 5s in the semis, and then best of 7 for the qualifying match. So a lot of best of 5s. I don't know what kind of schedule the casters want to follow. Like, I don't know if like the entirety of the round 16 starts at the same time, or if they do it like in chunks. Like, I don't necessarily know how long the event is going to last.
I think we have the map.
I would imagine around 6 hours. We'll see.
So we can see the vetoes.
Yeah, as we do have some connectivity issues here. Hold on. Un momento.
Already, as we're getting the maps displayed up here. Oh, actually,
it's the best of 5 here in the LCQ.
Yeah, it looks like there might be some latency issues when it comes to the mainstream. Yeah, I can see their YouTube chat is freaking out. So it looks like they're just having some connectivity issues from the venue.
Yeah, and I think that group stages have definitely had a place in StarCraft 2, but I felt like there was a lot of them in all these tournaments. And I do feel like group stages can be a little bit exhausting.
Can we back?
I think a best of 5 can be more interesting.
We're back. We're back.
We've moved the format around a little bit here with how we're doing this. We put a lot of thought into the whole LCQ in general and how we wanted it to look and feel. And so we're moments away from getting into this. Again, but
never mind.
this guy, I think every Terran in Korea, in Asia, has always been a little bit overshadowed by Maru.
Yeah.
Who has historically been, you know, over the entire course of StarCraft, the strongest Terran there is.
Yes.
Obviously, Clem is incredible. We've got other great Terran players around the world, Oliveira as well. But, you know, when you're a Terran player out here, especially being a Korean, you're always kind of playing second fiddle to Maru. But I think Bunny has always had his own approach to the game. Very cool under pressure, and I think out of all the matches that we have here, to start off the early parts of the bracket.
So I'm just checking audio levels because I do know that it's a little bit low.
Yeah. Again, I think Bunny is just a bit of a higher level player overall than Ryung.
Catching on the chat. Hello, like, you're really doing well. Thank you. Yes, been doing well. Been streaming recently. I had a ladder stream yesterday. I was able to stream some Final Fantasy as well.
Like one of the best Terran versus
I had a bit of a leaner week, which feels good.
So I'm looking at this matchup. I really don't know which way it'll end up going, and I'm excited to see it because, like, even looking back into Season 3 of RSL, Ryung took a map off Maru there. Like, he's really, like, on the edge of creating upsets every time he plays another Terran player.
That's right. Exciting to have Ryung down here today.
Yeah, I'm glad they bring that up. Again, we echo this all the time, but Ryung, he has arguably the best TvT in the world. I can see, oh look, there's Rex next to him. But I would argue that Ryung, he has the potential to bring down Bunny and to bring down Maru as well. Like, because he's in the Terran portion of the bracket, like, this is the best chance for Ryung to go far and to pop off. So we'll see if he does. Let's go. Oh look, there's Peridusta. Peridusta. Let's go. Community member.
TvT seems to be a lot more explosive. It seems like there's a lot more of the glass cannon element at play here.
I'm not saying that Ryung will take down both Bunny and Maru, but he has like the potential to. It looks like the way they're hosting this, there are 2 matches happening at the same time. They have 4 PCs set up. I don't know if they have PCs in the backstage where they have more games happening at once. Again, my concern is the length of this broadcast, just because there are so many best of 5s. I was surprised to see that the round of 16 are full best of 5s instead of best of 3s. So it depends on how many matches are happening at once and how many games the casters want to actually cast and cover.
Most Terran players, I'm like, oh, you know, they're very good with Marines, they're good with tanks, this type of thing.
Because these best of 5s, they can last a long time.
I always think of Mech, I think of Banshees, right? Like, he's really got a wide range of units and strategies that he's utilized over the years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. They have like a VIP, like, I don't know if you notice in the crowd, they've got like these nice like sofa chairs for the first 2 rows, and then they got like regular chairs behind them. Interesting.
The LCQ, it's a marathon, man. You are playing non-stop all day. You got to keep that stamina going. We have a lot of different parts of this this event, or I should say some of the early parts of this event here that are not going to be broadcast on this channel just because we're at the early part of the brackets, but they are going to be on other live streams. Rotterdam is one of them here, on other various channels here on Twitch.
Oh.
Yeah, and of course, always great to double window that one. You know,
oh, I didn't know.
Listen to the Tastosis commentary. That's going to be a really interesting combination there for you.
So it looks like they're going to be getting something to judge.
So apparently Rotterdam is a B stream. I had no idea, but apparently there's a B stream going on as well. Yo, it's early for Roddy to be live, but okay. We'll see what matches he's covering. So I guess they're going to be running two series at once.
These guys have a history. They know each other very well.
Possible.
He's covering Solo versus Rex. Oh, that's why Rex was next to Ryung. Ah, yeah. So they're running 2 series at the same time. Okay.
Yeah. In the calendar year.
So Roddy has the ZVZ.
Everything absolutely on the line. It's, you know, if you go out here, it's like, okay, well, you have to walk out into the rainy.
We'll just be co-streaming what's on the main stream.
Go get on the subway, man, and go home.
But interesting to see that both series are happening at once.
Gonna be pulling out all the stops here.
And it looks like we are ready now, finally, to go into game 1 in what is a best of 5 here. Ryung versus Bunny to start off the RSL.
Getting into, well, we've hosted up Winter Madness, not Tokamak, but we'll see about that momentarily here. And here we go, Tasteless, as we get into it. Here in the bottom right, we have a Bunny.
That's right, and his opponent over here in the top left in the blue is Ryung.
Right, so Terran versus Terran
Okay, let's
between
go.
these two. You know, it's a best of 5, so I think it is important for these guys to really consider.
True,
how do
best
we
of
want
5.
to open the series? Are you going to try to open it aggressively? That's always kind of been a popular way to start out in a best of 5, or do you want to just kind of macro
And if you're in the chats very quickly, you know what time it is? Up. Just waiting for the program to start up. There we go. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our best of 5. Also, big shout out to Pecoeta in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing for 12 months for a year of support. Pecoeta. Ay. Thank you so much for the support. And again, predictions are now open. Place your bets. Coming into this, I'm going to be leaning a little bit more towards Ryung, but we'll see how the series unfolds. I mean, especially with the latest patch, with the latest map pool, there can definitely be some. We haven't actually seen much TvT in the latest map pool, actually, so I'm excited. I'm ready for it. Let's go.
But that people, specifically Oliveira, really figured out how to like get in there and not just break the opponent's nose, but like break the arm, like end the fight, basically. And it seems like people defensively have gotten a little
because we're going to be co-streaming, I'll try not to like talk over the casters too much. Well, I'm happy to just enjoy the show, chime in whenever we have something to say. We'll see. Watch it together, Pat.
Mid-game pressures that people put on can cause these very almost peculiar amounts of damage, where you have to look at this position that might be a little bit different by a couple of units, a couple of SCVs every single game, and try to judge, okay, how do we bring this position forward? And I think that is part of the reason why Terran vs. Terran still doesn't feel like super solved in these mid-game situations.
Yeah, I think very true. We've got the first Reapers coming out. Mirrored behavior here on the map, but it seems like actually the Reaper for Ryung on the mini-map went out to basically check for a proxy, because there's a lot of people that will build stuff right below the main here, and he's going to use this defensively. And with a second Reaper being made, there's nothing that Beyond can do. A Bunny can do. So he's going to come in here.
Oh, no, it's begun.
See the expanded, he's going to be leaving.
The Biani.
Yeah, we have absolutely mirrored openers from these two players at the moment. It does seem like Bunny is taking just a slightly more forward position by moving his Reaper across the map there, but you know, nothing can really be done when your opponent has those same exact units. And we'll be just kind of taking a look and waiting to see how do these two builds vary from each other. Like, what are you going to do as Bunny or Ryung to try to mix this up a little bit and start to gain an advantage?
Right. Yeah, we're basically waiting for the
See, this is where you start talking about the map to fill time.
Yeah, they literally mirror each other. It does seem like we've got.
Because hey, it's Winter Madness.
Second and a half ahead in the build order.
Most defensive map in the map pool, one of the most.
Tech Labs being added on over here on both sides. We'll see if it's going to be Banshee or Raven. That may be where the fork in the road is. Now they're both going around each other, passing each other like two ships in the night, and this is going to be very chaotic. Can he get the SCV before?
Oh, he'll finish.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Actually finishes the CC, so that is huge. The damage does start to pile up here for Bunny, and Ryung is not turning around. Can he get the wallet up? It doesn't matter. The Reaper's going to hop over.
Oh, he breaks through.
So he does knock that down.
He breaks in. No Cyclone. Oh, he's lighting up.
With these Hellions. Now, there is a Cyclone on the way, but
you can do it. Get in there.
Okay, a lot of damage.
Ooh, Ryung's being baited. Oh my god. Oh no, what a mess. You can do it. Oh my god.
Going down from these Hellions are insane. Look at those SCVs just fall on either side. Similar damage is occurring across the map.
Yeah, Ryung was on A move, so he got baited in. We'll get into it.
So they're down to 10 workers to 7. It looks like the last Reaper is going to be killed off here.
Oh my god.
And so Ryung is actually considerably ahead. I mean, right now, Bunny with less workers than you start the game out with. That's wild. So
yeah, Ryung could have been in a better position. I don't know if you noticed, but Ryung, he actually had his SCVs on A move, and then he looked away to focus on his own micro, which makes sense. But because he looked away, the Reapers of Bunny actually baited and pulled and dragged the SCVs over to the full wall. Unlike Bunny didn't have a full wall, Ryung did, but despite that, the SCVs got dragged to the depot within range of the Hellions, and then the Hellions dealt almost equivalent damage. Now, thankfully for Ryung, he was still able to deal more damage, kill more SCVs, and now Bunny's all in.
That Bunny has going for him right now is this one additional Raven. So we'll see what he can get done.
Oh, nice outcomes.
I don't know that that's going to be enough, but we have some
Raven goes down.
Here. The Raven gets picked off. Good micro there from Ryung. And look at that. Great targeting from Bunny at the end, getting that one Cyclone.
Ooh.
They get like a range upgrade on the Cyclone? That's so far.
They fixed it finally.
Finally. Now the game's balanced. So he took that out. The Cyclones
Jesus.
survived.
I haven't
It's 19 to 20.
I haven't heard
Stop thinking
Tasos
SCVs
cast together in a
around.
very long time.
We have seen players who will just like walk in and make one
I say that. I
interception
guess
and go across
we
the map,
co-stream
but
them at
in some
EWC.
ways, Bunny has
True.
not given himself any advantage. They traded out, and when you're ahead, like at the level that Ryung is at, you're fine at the minimum trading out, right?
Well, looking at this now, Ryung getting his own Raven, and you know that's obviously going to be really, really helpful. There's a lot that you can get done with that Raven, whether you're trying to disable.
That's why I put all my channels on what the caster says. I mean, I did say that Ryung is favorite here, but by no means does that mean he's. It's like when I say he's favorite, it's like 60%. You could maybe push like 70% in favor of Ryung for this series, but like tentatively like 60%. So like there's room for error there. Like Bunny, he's a strong player himself. Game 1 of course is in favor of Ryung, but it's gonna be a long series. Gonna be a long series.
Back into Ravens now, and there's no sign of a third base. I do feel like it's.
Are they both in Korea? Yes. This is an offline event. They don't have any remote casters.
Yeah,
They're all in
I
Korea.
don't feel like it makes any sense for anybody to attack. In fact, you kind of hope the other guy would try to dive into you, especially as you've got enough units.
Basically, what that means is they use that Patreon money to get our hosts some flights to Korea for the offline finals.
If either of the two players are going to commit to a two-base pressure play or to try to get up into that third base.
I think we are going to see the pressure play coming out from Ryung. It seems like the right thing to do, and you've got this type of edge, which I think he does recognize that he has this edge. I love the fact that he's swapping over and going reactored Vikings at the moment to go with his two Ravens. It just makes a lot of sense. If he can control the air, his siege tanks are going to be so much more valuable.
Yeah, and that pushes.
What they're trying to get at here, all that Ryung has to do right now is contain. He doesn't even have to push in, just contain, because as you can see on the mini-map, he's expanding. Ryung is getting a third CC, so as he gets a third base, just contain Bunny on two bases. He doesn't have to force the issue, doesn't have to try to force his way into the natural third base. That's where he could make mistakes. That is where Bunny could capitalize on that. At the same time, though, like Bunny doesn't really have that much in position, so Ryung could find an opening.
Oh, with 3 siege tanks, it's going to be a
He's within range.
Don't forget, some Vikings are going to be coming in as well. Oh, his Marines actually bleed out a little bit there. Ryung keeping heavy pressure on. You know, he's hitting this orbital, and it is dealing some damage. It'll take a little bit of time. Obviously, he can stop.
And nice disable, getting within range. He wants that tank. He's going to get it.
Yeah, now this tank is in range of the other tank on the side. He disables that. A lot of patience exhibited here by Ryung. And you know, with 4 tanks up here, it's very expensive to keep repairing this. The Ravens are going to come around.
Oh, we're coming in from behind.
I don't even know. Maybe he wants to try to dump auto turrets on this. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine.
Oh, does he find him? Oh, he does.
Oh, and they do
oh my god.
They do spot it. Bunny sees exactly what is going on here. And he's going to move forward and hits a couple disables, but is that going to be enough?
A great auto turret's thrown down here to tank some of that damage. The rest of the army is going to come up here. Now the Vikings land. GG. Ryung takes game number 1.
Well, there it is, Tasteless. Like
yeah, GG, well played. I don't think the first game really says much about the players themselves. We'll see what the casters say.
They were doing the exact same strategy, and he ended up having his wall in on top of his ramp completed a little bit more quickly, didn't allow the Hellions in, and was able to get more damage on Bunny's SCVs, and you see how he closed it out so cleanly there.
Yeah, beautifully done.
Again, it's important to emphasize what happened as well, is that Bunny did do almost equivalent damage. They kind of missed the point there, but when he dragged the SCVs to the depot wall, even though Ryung had actually finished his wall, like he wasn't attentive back at home, he still lost a lot of SCVs. But again, it just comes down to the fact that he was able to kill slightly more workers than his opponent and end up in a slightly better position and just snowball from there. But that's also why I would say that this first game I don't think it's really indicative of the series yet, just because it all came down to the fact that they miss each other. It was mirrored builds, they miss each other, and then in the chaos in the early game, Ryung took a lead, right? Like that's kind of what it came down to. I don't think it's really indicative of like positional play or decision making or micro or anything like that. Like it was just really early game aggression and chaos that went in favor of Ryung. Now coming into game 2 though, he has momentum. Can he keep it going? Let's go.
Tokamak here in the top right, in the bottom left. I mean, oh, sorry about that. We have our.
Since Aligalak has Bunny 49, Ryung 51, History has 47-25 for Bunny. Aligalak says a lot of things. We bring this up all the time. Aligalak isn't really very reliable, I would say. I think Aligalak is good. Is a good tool to use if maybe you don't watch a lot of StarCraft to get a better idea of what's happening. But I think Aligalak does put a lot of weight when it comes to, like, obviously historical wins. I would say that recent performance is more important, and that's something that you can achieve by just watching a lot of StarCraft and seeing the games themselves. The just overall score lines and like numbers don't necessarily tell the whole story as to like current play, right? Like as we mentioned, like Ryung, this is his best matchup. He's caused a lot of upsets. Ryung's the reason why Clem switched to Protoss and why he's skipping TvT now. Like Ryung is the reason for all of that. Like so like put Ryung against Maru, put him against Bunny, put him against Cure. Like he has a good chance of like causing upsets. Whereas like the context of a lot of the wins and the context of a lot of the scores isn't really provided by Aligalak, which is why I say that it's a good tool to use if you know kind of like what data to extract from it instead of wholly relying on it. It's like something you want to use to help inform you, but not necessarily something you want to rely on purely to inform you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, this is the worst possible thing that could happen. Uh-oh. Okay, so now he knows.
Oh, no.
You don't scout him and go, aha, they forgot to make barracks. Okay, so he cancels the command.
He does notice.
He's going to throw a bunker down.
Ryung's going for the proxy Rex.
Second. The most important thing for Red, for Bunny, excuse me, is going to be to not lose the first Reaper. If you lose the first Reaper, it really does snowball. Yeah, he's going
like you whack him, right? No, again, like a league like gathers data, it gathers like you know, win rates and stuff like that, and you can see historical record, and like you can like delve further into it to like give you more useful information. If you don't have time to like watch games.
Okay, so the bunker up here is super important. The Reaper is going to be pushed out. Now, you know, this is where the game gets a little bit odd, right? You've got two bunkers. The Reapers really can't get in anywhere else. I guess they can try to chip at the depot, but, you know, there's not really much more you can do. Yeah. And
so far, I mean, Bunny's reacted really well. He's got two bunkers in the main. He canceled the CC. And Ryung is transitioning.
It's going to be a lot slower, which is really, really important to mention, but he's still making a few Reapers. He loses one there, so maybe not the best control from Ryung so far, but he is going to be going up to 4 Reapers, which can kind of battle for themselves even against the first million.
Jesus. No! Ryung, calm down.
So we've got some damaged Marines out here.
Calm down,
basically over. The command center for Bunny starts in the main. Obviously, Ryung has a little bit of a positional advantage, so he can throw his command center on the low ground and try to build this up from there. This has been a classic move in TvT after a 2 racks is finished, is that 1 racks goes home and the other racks...
so coming into the early game now, again, the aggression did not kill. Ryung was hoping for an economic opener, and Bunny was going for an economic start, but once he realized he was quick to cancel, quick to transition, at this point, we do see that Ryung was a little bit supply blocked, but Bunny, he does have the faster, I believe he has the faster factory production. Ryung has a faster CC, so we have some slight differences here and there as we build up.
At least he sees the starport is on the way right now.
He's going to come up now. Let's try to drive out this barracks up here. And we're going to probably go from here into what's a pretty normal looking game. This might be a game that if you walked into the room and hadn't seen the beginning, you wouldn't even necessarily know this started off as a crazy...
Oh!
What's that barracks doing up there?
Faster CC.
Bunny is going for the 3rd command center.
Yeah.
And I don't see a 3rd command center for Ryung. Oh, no, never mind. He just started it.
Oh,
okay. I said that. So
there you go.
his command center is just a little bit later.
Yeah, it's still lining up pretty close to each other.
So it is important that you bring up the fact that both players are going into really fast expansions. It's important that they're both doing it, so that means we're kind of mirroring each other here. No one is being hyper aggressive, and we don't really expect to see any aggression until the mid game, until the 3rd base is taken. Another point to take note of is that this is a custom map pool, which does feature some older maps like Tokamak. Tokamak is hyper defensive, and you can slow the game down into a maxed out split map scenario quite easily here on Tokamak.
Yeah, that is the worst right there, and he gets that SCV right away, but, you know, plenty of defensive units.
So we had a really aggressive start, but this can slow down to a crawl.
And I don't think
This is one of the reasons why we've seen less late game, and we've seen less like late game Sky Toss and ZVP or just late game in general, because the equivalent of Tokamak doesn't exist in the current map pool. Like the most defensive maps we have are what, Celestial Enclave and Winter Madness and White Rabbit, but they pale in comparison to Tokamak when it comes to just how secure you can be on 4 and 5 bases, and how you can cut the map in half and take over the center. Like this, it's yeah.
It's just so useful.
Just much more prone to longer
games. Kind
games.
of mid-game type of scenario. You can break open positions. You can do a little bit of harassment. It can defend itself a little bit. Really a very valuable unit. Now, Ryung coming around with that medevac once again, but not deciding to unload. It really seems like Bunny is zoning everything out defensively very, very well.
Okay, unloading over here, and that's not going to get anything done. Bunny's going to be able to shoo that away. A scan here in the main is going to see where the infrastructure is at currently in this game. And it looks like this should be more of a macro game TvT. Both sides throwing down the engineering bay, which is a nod to not meching, to bio here. And we're going to get into more of your standard back and forth TvT. And what's important to note in a game like this, as you get into like mid game, is how fragile both armies are when you have bio tank versus bio tank. If you get one bad angle, or if one player sieges up a little bit quicker and the other guy's not ready, a lot of times that's how a fight is won or lost.
Yeah, and I feel like those types of scenarios just a little bit favor actually Bunny over Ryung. I feel like the way that Ryung wins Terran versus Terran is kind of through brains, not through bronze. He's not necessarily like the fastest, quickest reacting Terran, but he's cognitively very, very strong, right? So I'm looking at these two positions. I like how he opened it. We're pretty even right now, but because we're pretty even and there's a lot of
Baits him in.
I think Bunny's going to do
Ooh,
well.
the disable there.
Okay.
Oh, quick on siege. Gets away.
And while it's disabled, you can see some grenades are going to be chucked out here to try to sandbag the progress.
Yeah, nice on siege there by Ryung, but his tank count just isn't high enough.
Two parts to this. One is that this push is kind of scary, but the second part is that you can't land a third base, where Bunny's got his landed over here.
Yeah, and that's making it look really bad for Ryung right now. He's got to break out of here. Don't forget, the Ravens on both sides. Like, both of them have a lot of potential on either attacking, breaking, defending. Whatever it is, you end up utilizing these can openers, these flying can openers to do.
Yeah, he's got this position now. He's trying to... he doesn't want to overextend here, but, you know, Ryung...
Yeah, the goal here for Bunny, as they kind of mentioned, is just contain. Just contain. He's getting his own third base. Keep Ryung on 2 bases for as long as possible.
A second earlier, but if he attacks, it would be like right now, and he doesn't do it. So the stim finishes here for Bunny as well.
Well, I think you would want to wait for that 1-1. You're so close to it. And 1-1, like if your opponent doesn't have 1-1 at the same time, you're going to be able to dominate through that. The one thing that could change that a lot would be obviously Raven spells and, of course, this Siege Tank splash damage. So, you know, right now... Ooh,
oh, that's great. He pulls the boys. 10 seconds too soon.
And disables all those tanks so quickly.
That was huge.
Upgrades. Barely kicking in.
I think Ryung just barely has enough, though. He doesn't even need his tanks, apparently. He kills that off. He takes that out. And now the map is completely under the control of Ryung. The tank count has been reset for Bunny. And this is going to be a perilous mid-game. I mean, I think this counter a punch could be fatal here from Ryung.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy, actually, how well he busted that, especially when you pointed out he didn't bring his own tanks forward.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, shouldn't he have done that?
Yeah,
but
like, isn't this wrong?
It's like, no, I have twice the supply now, LOL, and my tanks
I mean, even if he did bring the tanks forward, there's a high chance it would have been disabled anyway. But yeah, that was a really strong fight from Ryung. He breaks out, he resets the tank count. Now suddenly everything swings in favor of the blue Terran, and can he wedge himself in between the bases? We do see Bunny does reposition. He does pull back, does reposition.
Now there's a tank here to beat this, but I mean,
oh, does disable. Gets one.
And there are disables here on these Ravens.
Yeah, at least a few. And if he can push forward and break any part of this position, it's going to be really tough for Bunny to end up holding on. Now, he has a good siege location, but Bunny does have these
nice target firing.
which are going to be really helpful at kind of zoning that vision back.
Disables one more. Nice on siege at a Bunny. Oh my god, saves the tank.
He picks up great micro, but is it going to really be enough? Ryung is closing in onto this position. It seems like there might just be
Good bookie, Thomas.
tank siege up. The counter fire should be very strong here for Ryung.
Yeah, Ryung, he's trading so well here. There's one tank in the back line, but the Liberator has arrived. He's got the freedom, Bappy. He's got the freedom.
That's going to be it. GG. Ryung goes up 2-0.
Oh, man. You know, we said this was possible, and anything is possible, right, in a best of 5 with 2 great players, but I didn't think it was really going to happen, right? I mean, Ryung is already winning 2 games in a
You mean it
row.
wasn't gonna happen? He was favored. They're like, this is crazy. No, Pappy, it's TvT. Fun fact, we had this discussion during the podcast a couple of days ago, how there is a possibility that Maru gets knocked out by Ryung. Like, specifically because Ryung is on the TvT side of the bracket, Ryung has to play against Bunny and then Maru. Because Ryung has to solely rely on TvT here, there is, like, this, like, I would say that Ryung is the biggest threat to Maru in the bracket. Like, unironically. Like, I think Ryung is scarier to Maru than Raynor and Solar and some of the other... actually... No, I'm going to amend that. I would say that Ryung and Cure are the biggest threats to Maru, more so than Solar and Raynor. Like, specifically the TvTs. We'll talk about Cure later, because Cure we'll get into, but like, because he also has some killer TvT. And if you remember, who beat Maru at EWC? Cure. Like, Cure beat Maru in TvT. Like, it happened already. So like, those are kind of like the biggest threats to Maru, I would say, in this bracket, in this qualifier.
Yeah, it's hard to recover 3-0 in a best of 5.
Yeah.
It's also statistically very rare. You know, you have best of 5s that go to game 5 all the time, but usually there's a back and forth.
Catching up in the chat.
It's not that one person, you know, would have won.
So is this live? Yes.
And the other guy would have won, what is basically
The title doesn't say replay.
So we'll see. I do think.
Oh, that delay is mistaken. Sorry, I'll fix that.
At the same time,
There is no delay on stream.
really strong here.
But if it's ever cast via replays, and it will say so in the chat. If it doesn't say so, it would say so in the title. If it doesn't say so in the title, then assume it is live. But I will fix that delay
Get that much damage, but he
command.
forced the cancel, he forced a couple of bunkers, but I would agree with you that I don't think Bunny was really like behind after that. It seemed pretty even.
Right. We're going to go into game 3 now in this best of 5. Hopefully we get a game 4 and a game 5, but Ryung with a very strong 2-0 lead. We go to the map Mothership here. Bunny in the bottom center in the red, Ryung in the top right in the blue.
Let's go.
All right, very excited to see them playing here on Mothership. I am a big fan of this map and one of the more exciting new maps in my opinion. And yeah, this is where Bunny has to show his absolute best play. Like he must figure something out here. If this goes wrong, it's like, well, that was a failed day, unfortunately, for Bunny.
Yeah, we'll see what they can come up with this time around. Sorry, what Bunny can come up with this
I think Artis is at a failed ban. I mean, Mothership is known for longer games. For those unaware, Mothership is, I believe this is the largest map in the current map pool. Now, for this tournament map pool, it's a little bit different because they have Tokamak and they have some of the other older maps, so it's a little bit more of a mix. But Mothership is a huge map, but it's also more open. I would say it's a little bit more difficult to outposition your opponents on this map, specifically when it comes to taking advantage of choke points and taking advantage of high ground and elevation. So we'll see. There's also a lot of room to maneuver for drop play as well. Looking forward to the mid game. We'll see who's able to take the advantage.
We'll see exactly where he wants to end up with that. Does he want to do some sort of one base aggression? Does he want to just go ahead and expand but have that backup factory ready? We will see momentarily.
Okay. So we're going to see the command center made on the high ground here for Ryung. Slightly more conservative than the command center on the low ground. It does make a little bit of a difference, even though the travel time's fast. But, you know, even seeing Ryung kind of shift gears from game 2, where he's like, okay, I've won. I'm going to sink my teeth in game 2 and try to be aggressive. Just going for a slightly safer expand in case the unexpected comes out here. He should be in a healthy spot.
Yeah, I kind of like it, right? Like, he went from winning game 1 with the mirror build to an aggressive build game 2. Yeah, it didn't work out perfectly, but he ends up winning the game. And here he is with a little bit more conservative play. Maybe he's looking and say, oh, it's more likely for Bunny to play aggressively here. So let's try to block that. And the thing is, I think if Bunny tried to do anything fancy and Ryung blocked it, it would probably mess with Bunny's mind from there on out because he's already one map from elimination.
Yeah, and also the nature of Bunny's losses has been pretty painful, right?
Yes.
I mean, these were games that were honestly a little bit shorter than what I thought. I thought when we saw game 2 and they both took the third base, I thought, okay, we're going to have kind of more of a macro game, a back and forth, and even in TvTs, you can have like a lot of fights that happen back to back, but no. I mean, instead, Bunny got his contain setup, got completely judo flipped, and then lost. So, you know, Bunny, we'll see how he behaves here. Some players have pretty cool nerves, and they'll just play back into a macro game. and try to kind of do a clean slate reset. Other players impacted more by the losses they had earlier will try to come out and maybe in a little bit of a more desperate mode, try to close the game out with something crazy. But so far, we don't see that.
Looking down here on Bunny's side, Reactored Hellions on the way, as well as a Raven. Of course, we should be getting into probably Raven production here for Ryung as well. Very, very standard. And yeah, he's going to go ahead and add that Tech Lab on.
So what we should be looking out for here is third CC timings. Similar to last game, we're expecting a faster third CC and expecting the players to build up into the mid game. That is kind of expected here between the players. But we'll see if they throw down extra production buildings, then we might commit a little bit harder on 2 bases. Personally, I'm not fond of early aggression on Mothership just because of the size of the map itself. So we're kind of expecting at least 3 base play, or at least aggression on 3 bases, which is what we saw last game.
You don't make a bunch of Hellions and then just sit there, right? So
yeah, that is a big commitment.
You're
Jesus.
not going to get Hellion Siege mode and do something with that. So they're going to move out across the map. And
he's going for the dive.
You know, I don't know how well this will go. I think you can kind of fight that army. I would guess you probably want to try to kill workers with this, though, right?
I would imagine. Imagine. You know, maybe you even want to utilize a disable here or an auto.
Yeah, disable's done in 10 seconds.
But he's got to get some damage.
Goes to the turrets.
And look, he was thinking about auto turret, doesn't put it down quite yet. Decides to throw it down right there, and actually, you know, it's doing a little bit. He's getting Marines.
Yeah, the Hellions are being shut down by the auto turrets. Brutal damage here. Ryung shuts us down.
Yeah, I gotta say this is a pretty bad attack. I think. You know, there was some ideas there. I think when he had the turrets down around the ramp, and it kind of created this like bottleneck, and maybe like there's some kind of like a funneling effect where the Hellion damage kind of stacks. But I think there's a reason why we don't see that very often. So anyways, like the problem is not so much like, oh, they traded out units, because the units, if you lose Marines to Hellions...
So I think the cast has missed this. I'm pretty sure this Hellion attack from Bunny was meant to hit with Matrix, with Interference Matrix. I don't know if you noticed, but he actually attacked and pushed into the natural, was it 10 to 12 seconds before Matrix finished? That was pretty huge, and I think that was a mistake. I'm pretty sure the goal there was to hit with Matrix, disable the Cyclone, and then overwhelm the Marines, and then bust into the mineral line. But he attacked pre-disabled, so he didn't have it available to him. The Raven was a little bit of a waste as a result. The Raven, he wanted to go in with the auto turret, he didn't throw down any auto turret until the very end when it came to harassing, and yeah, it was a bit of a blundered assault. This is a rough start for Bunny.
Right. So, with the third CC landing, Ryung is steadily pedaling ahead here. We've got the additional barracks now.
Scouts at third CC.
About halfway done. So once again, this is going to be a game of tank bio coming into this. Looks like the Reaper is going to get cornered and taken out. And I would put Ryung in a slightly better position, but really we got to watch for the next fight and see how that goes.
Yeah, you know, we're kind of in this like a powering building phase right now, where there's not like a whole lot they can do to each other at the moment. You're going to see a little bit of walking around with these units, but probably more like just in line of getting that third base set up, continuing your macro forward.
So I have to push back against what Artosis is saying. He's like, oh yeah, they're going to back off and build up. Like, no, this is just like last game, where right now the goal is to deny the opposing third. That's the goal here that Bunny's at least trying to achieve. He wants to be active, wants to get in position, and contain Ryung if possible.
He's going to get shot at a little bit more. And, I mean, there's not a ton you can get done with these Cyclones, but I think Bunny...
But Ryung's already on 3 bases. And you can see just the map working against Bunny here. We spoke about it earlier. This is a really large map, and Bunny, he tried to move out, he tried to be active. Ryung, he's already got his third base up and running. It's already saturated. He was able to slow down the push with his Cyclone, scout the push as well, and he deflects Bunny.
Excuse me, both on 3 bases, double E-bays on both sides. And we're going to see, probably as the game goes on, a fight towards the upper left corner of the map.
I think you're probably right about that, and I do love that we're utilizing a 3-player map here, because it does make that type of battle, that type of positional game in a Terran versus Terran much more interesting, if you ask me.
So Ryung is going to come down into the middle of the map again here. And I don't know if he wants to attack. Sometimes you just want to shark around the map and see if you can kind of find their army.
Now the thing about TvT is that you can break through these siege lines, you can find these positions just because of how the Raven works. So Ryung, he's looking for a way in.
It's almost like he's being pulled down here, but this could create another blind spot, almost like a little decoy. He sends that out, and Ryung kind of
Yeah, you can see most of the tanks are in the center. The left-hand side flank is open. There's one tank in position.
But I think the positional setup. Okay, excuse me.
Scans.
Bunny actually scans and sees Ryung setting up over there, and Ryung decides to do a reset.
I actually feel like both sides are playing really well right now.
I
I
agree.
love how Ryung is walking around with basically his whole army looking for errors in Bunny's play, and Bunny is he's kind of playing a little bit more like an old school TY or something.
Oh.
Right? Like he's moving around with
He finds the
smaller
tanks.
Army here and
Ryung's sold out. He has to get out of here.
Oh, okay, nice.
Oof.
We've got the
Yeah, lose
armor
one.
debuff coming down here, and Bunny's gonna keep
One,
coming up
two
here.
tanks go down.
Ooh,
Massive catch.
tanks. Marines coming here to the front to try to tank some of the
Nice
damage.
disables. There's still one tank, though.
And Bunny pushes it even further.
Yeah, those disabled
Yeah, and Bunny,
tanks
he's just
are
snowballing out of control.
terrible time here. Great armor shreds out of Bunny, who continues to move forward. Another disable on that tank. Gonna drop out these tanks.
And you just
that
go
are
for it. You can go for the kill.
Re-enable.
He
and,
can do it.
Try to defend this base.
Okay, he's gonna push right up into the natural, and there's no tanks here. This is gonna cut the Terran in half. If you're gonna try to move through there, you have to eat a bunch of tank damage.
But yeah, winding up at Ryung, he just caught out. He got caught. The pants were down, but he got caught in the center. He lost 2-3 tanks early on, and then he got just caught out by the Master Sable as well. So Ryung was sharking around. He got caught instead. GG. GG.
But he's gonna lose the third base too, and from there he's probably gonna lose the game, Artosis.
Yeah, you're pretty hard pressed to come back from a game like this, even you losing that starport. And GG is called. Bunny gonna take it down, even after kind of a weak opener overall. I don't think the Hellions did what he was looking for, but he takes that map, and we've got ourselves a series, Tasteless.
Thank God, Artosis.
I know.
This goes along what we were saying previous, or what we typically say about TvT, is that in Terran versus Terran, I want to say more so than the other mirror matchups, there are a lot of comeback avenues of coming back. You can be down in army supply, you can be down in marines, down in tanks, but if you can outposition your opponents in one really good fight like we just saw, even if you're down in supply, you can still excel and you can still break through and overwhelm and take the game, right? As long as you can take one strong fight, even if you're down in supply, you can pop off. Again, Bunny, as they were mentioning, that he did have a lackluster start with the Hellion dive. It was not worth it. He fell behind. He had a later third base, he had later economy, later saturation, smaller army, but he did catch Ryung unsieged. And that one moment is all he needed to just take the fight and then snowball into a win. GG. GG, well played. It's one of the reasons why Clem doesn't play TvT anymore, is that you can be ahead, you can be in a good position, but then if you get caught out of position one moment, whether it's with getting your tanks caught out, whether it's your opponent sieging up on top of you, whether it's a doom drop, right? Whether it's a doom drop getting into your base, or whether it's your own doom drop getting caught out, there's these really big explosive like swingy moments in TvT that are quite prevalent, which can kind of take an advantage away quite quickly. It can be a little bit quote-unquote coin flippy in that sense. And that's one of the reasons why Clem, he avoids TvT like the plague, because despite his at times superior micro, superior macro, doesn't necessarily matter at times. Let's go.
And his opponent in the top right, starting out with the 2-0, but being swept pretty cleanly in that last game, it's Ryung.
So Evil Heart's been a really fun map to cast.
Hyper aggressive.
One of the things we did at RSL is we wanted to have
The map, I mean.
the I want pro gamers to give their input for maps, but I also want the community and the people that are supporting us on the Patreon to vote on the maps.
Yeah.
And so we had a couple maps that people picked. And one thing that's good is you want to have maps that kind of force a change in play.
Yes.
When you have pro gamers only pick the maps they tend to pick, and I don't even blame them. I do this when I ladder. I will only pick maps that I'm comfortable on. So I totally relate to it, but you want to be on maps that make sense to you and you're comfortable on. But what we want to do is create a level of discomfort.
Yes.
Whether that's in a claustrophobic map or a map with a different expansion layout or just a really big map, or there's a lot of different ways you can make maps. I mean, this is why RTS games are so great, is there's so many different ways you can create them. So we had fans vote on these, and we're seeing a lot of these maps in the RSL create some very interesting games. The SCV high five in the middle of the map, not something you see every time.
Yeah, I would echo Tasteless's sentiments there regarding the maps in the map pool. I think that's why I'm actually really happy with the current map pool. I was a little bit iffy about it initially, if you recall. I was a little bit concerned about the larger maps that were introduced and how extreme the map pool was. But I think that extremity has led into a healthier ecosystem and a healthier game state than we had previously. You can make an argument that maybe we went too far. It's a little bit hard to say just because we haven't had any big premier tournament yet with the new map pool. We've had some LAN events, that is true, some smaller LAN events, and we have a Home Story Cup right around the corner as well. But we haven't had like a big like Stars Agora or a DreamHack or an EWC or a big major event to really kind of like see what players have been experimenting with and what they're bringing to the table, specifically players like Serral, like Hero, like Clem, and how they compete against each other in that highest level of play. We just haven't had that opportunity yet. Home Story Cup is going to be kind of like the next big one for that sort of thing, depending on who goes, I suppose.
Two places they pass and can't see each other. A little bit harder to make that attack work.
Yeah, I was going to say if this would be a mid-game army high-fiving path if we have that later on here. So, the same general tech routes being taken here. We need to see basically when are the add-ons thrown down, what are the add-ons for the factory and the starport to see what kind of game we're going to have here. And as we were saying earlier in the matchup, there's just so many different types of army compositions that can be made off the factory, starport, barracks combination.
Yeah.
And each of those different combinations, the units has their own strengths and weaknesses, right? And when you see a cyclone on both sides, especially early on, a lot of times that is a nod to kind of trying to defend early on. The tank, especially right away, yeah, that's defending, but sometimes we'll see that used for a push later on here. And then, of course, we want to see, you know, is it going to be a medevac coming out here?
Is it true that I heard Esports World Cup is going to include SE2? I believe there's no confirmation on that.
Yeah, and I mean, it could end up being exactly the same.
So if you heard that somewhere, it's kind of weird.
But hopefully
you would say that.
Mix it up some. Now, there is that medevac on the way for Bunny, whereas Ryung seems like he's going to be going
at the moment, there is no confirmation.
Yeah, and so, you know, we're going to get to that point in time here. We see exactly how do they harness these units here. It feels like in almost every TvT that I cast, there's almost always an attempted attack. I almost never have two conservative Terrans in a game, right?
Yeah.
Two guys, and here's the thing. You could have a game where they would both try that. But it feels like we just don't see it very often in competitive play. Almost always, like in this game, one guy is going to be attacking the other. And maybe that's because one guy, maybe they both intend to attack each other, but one guy always has an attack that's early.
Okay, Bunny going for the early push. Let's go.
Yeah, I think it also has to do with the players that are really good nowadays. You know, some of our more defensive...
This time not Hell in heavy.
Aren't as active these days. So anyways, we do have the attack coming in here from Bunny. And Cyclone's getting some pretty decent lock-ons. I do like Ryung's defensive minds there, though. Really putting on some damage and pushing everything back.
Okay. The
Jesus.
He's got to be careful. He's going to end up just getting these...
Oh, the medevac is going to barely get away, but he will lose everything.
See that happen with Cyclones. Because the Cyclones can zone so well, but the medevac already took some damage. And that was almost like an early Christmas present, that game. I mean, the fact that he threw the two Cyclones in there and lost them, I think we may just see an organic counterattack. Well, like, not a scripted one here. Like, why would you not counterattack?
Oh, do you see what I see? Second starport. So the casters, they haven't noticed yet. Third CC for Bunny, second starport for Ryung. Ryung is following this up with a 2-base all-in. So he has a lead. Ryung has the advantage. He's going for the 2-base all-in. Ryung intends to end the game.
Still able to take that map.
Observer just noticed.
Bunny's going to have to get ready because Ryung is winding up for an attack of his own. And
oh, you can see the
you know, how does he want to do this? Does he want to try to go into the
Did you see that?
Medevac with his army? I don't think he does. No, I don't.
So Ziggy, who's observing, by the way, he kept boxing both starports, and with the mouse, he kept pointing at them in the command card as well. Like he's trying to bring the caster's attention to it.
Auto turrets down here. He disables those tanks. And it seems like the Marines
Shout
are
to Ziggy.
close enough. The Marines are getting thinned out, and the medevac picks that up. And
Ryung, he takes the fight. He's pushing in, getting himself the starport. That's huge. Remember, it's double starport play out of Ryung. He's gonna have so many Vikings.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That is a huge moment. moment, especially considering he's making Reactor Vikings right now. Like, he really needed that. So Bunny is in a huge amount of trouble. Now, auto turret's coming down.
GG.
GG. Ryung is going to take that series with a 3-1 map score.
Yeah, huge upset here.
Upset?
I think a lot of people
What?
probably thinking Bunny probably advances.
What?
And a standard-looking TvT, but Ryung, it's a very short, very
The cast need to watch some more StarCraft, Pappy. Ryung has like the best TvT in the world. What are we talking about?
very happy with that. And
That's crazy. Crazy upset.
I think
No one
had
believed
a
in
couple of
Ryung.
missteps in the
Kappa.
game, but, you know, it goes back into that.
But GG well played. It is unfortunate that Bunny had to play against Ryung so early on. It is a bit of a shame. Like, I think that Bunny would have had a stronger. I mean, when it comes to the other matchups, of course, like Bunny has a lot to offer, even in TvT as well. But again, like Ryung, like this is like where he is at his best. I don't want to take away from his other matchups. Like we have seen Ryung pop off against Protoss and against Zerg, but it's a little bit more rarer when it comes to those matches. Like we have seen him look amazing against Zerg and amazing against Protoss. Don't get me wrong, but like usually I feel like in preparation-based formats, that's where he can excel in the other matchups, where he's given time to prepare, given time to like build up and get ready for that. I know that Crank likes to make fun of Ryung a lot, but like at times I feel like it's a little bit uncalled for, because like Ryung, he's an amazing player in his own right. He's older, yes, that's true. He's slower at times, but when he's locked in, Pappy, he's locked in. GG. GG.
Strong player, able to take down anyone, but historically in tournaments and in big brackets, he's not able to have enough momentum, enough of a
Crazy upset. They says it. True.
Deep, but let's see, man. Maybe this tournament's going to be an exception.
Yeah, I hope so. I want to see Ryung do well. You know, he's one of the oldest school players that we have in professional StarCraft. I can't remember, was it like season 2 of GSL that we first saw him in?
Mentored by Slayer's Boxer. He was actually on the team Slayers.
Yeah, he was in Slayers. It was pre-Axiom.
So he's still here. You know, some players have only been around for a short period of time. This is obviously an old game. It's been around, excuse me, it's been around for a long time and it's got a lot of history. But most players from that era are not able to actually last and sustain. But here we are with Ryung, taking that first game.
Yeah, and love seeing him do it. And in fact, his next match is going to be a Terran versus Terran as well. So you never know. The sky's the limit. In fact, his next one after that could be Cure making it through the bracket.
I see.
You never know.
I appreciate that they're taking note of that. Yes, I do think that Cure has a high chance of making it to the semis. It's like a pure TvT portion of the bracket. Yo, we get interviews. Let's go. Let's hear from Ryung.
Hello and welcome.
Yo, we
to
got
the
Sort
RSL
of and Maddox.
I'm joined here on the couch with Sort of. We have Maddox doing our
Let's go, Maddox.
interview translations, as well as our winner of game.
Much love to Maddox. Much
first
love.
of all, congratulations. I have a question about game number 1.
He's a great guy.
A lot of Reapers and Hellions. There was this kind of crazy, almost mini base trade. At the end of that first attack, how did you feel about your position in the game? And how were you able to navigate after such a kind of chaotic start?
일단 김동원 선수 승리 축하드리고요. 일단 첫 번째 질문은 일단 1세트 때부터 되게
I'd like for them to ask him about his mindsets after game 2, after the failed proxy racks
서로
as well.
엘리전 싸움 양상까지 이제 가면서 굉장히 난전이 펼쳐졌는데
And obviously his thoughts going into Maru, but we'll see. We'll see what they ask.
그런 싸움이 벌어지지
That's the obvious one that they have to ask about Maru.
어떤 식으로 이제 경기의 판세를 좀 보셨고 어떤 식으로 좀 경기를 이끌어 나가고 싶으셨는지 좀 궁금합니다.
일단 첫 번째 경기에서 상대가 두 번째
I want them to ask about the Hellion build that Bunny went for on Mothership. Like his thoughts.
그래서 3, 4신이 엇갈렸을
True,
때
that's what I want to hear.
서플이 안 막힌 걸 보고 이겼다고 생각했고 그다음에 일꾼을 좀 많이 잡아가지고 오는 것만 막으면 이기겠다고 생각했는데 오늘 컨트롤도 나쁘지 않아서 쉽게 수비가 됐던 것 같아요.
Control.
So the first thing I noticed in the first game that Bunny didn't block the ramp with the second second supply depot.
True.
But I did. So when all the base trade happening, actually I was convinced that I was winning because I blocked the ramp with the depot, but he didn't. And I also noticed that I got a lot of his workers. So as long as I defend that, that I was confident I could win.
All right. I wanted to ask, obviously you and Bunny has a very long history of competing against each other here in GSL and in other international tournaments. So I wanted to ask, like, how did you feel coming into this specific match against Bunny?
사실 이재선 선수랑 되게 좀 상대 전적이 또 많이 있으시잖아요. 그래서 이번에 좀 이재선 선수 상대하셨을 때 좀 어떤 마음가짐으로 임하셨는지 궁금합니다.
일단은 지금 남아있는 테란전자
I appreciate the question just because I feel like there isn't too much to discuss about the series itself. Oh, what do you say?
쓰지 않았고, 근데 요즘 게임이 좀 잘 된다고 생각해서 오늘은 이길 거라고는 생각했는데 그래도 경기가 이렇게 잘 될 줄은 몰랐어요.
Well, actually, speaking of which, the remaining Terran players I have is actually I'm very I'm underdog against them because I have a low win rate against them. That being said, I didn't really expect to the matches go this smoothly because I think there was the win rate was pretty low against all of those Terran players. But that being said, my game. Actually, my gameplay and my yeah, everything was went pretty well for me. So yeah,
Smooth.
So that actually was really surprising.
Okay, you said the win rate is quite low, but you looked very strong in this first series. Of course.
Oh, he's like, oh, my Eligulac. True.
I'm curious how
The
you feel
Eligulac.
going into this series, how confident you're feeling, and how things might differ to the first series today.
이제 다음 상대로 이제 같은 팀원이기도 한 이제 조성수 선수를 상대하게 되실 텐데 조성수 선수를 또 상대하실 때는 좀 어떤 자세로 임하실지 궁금합니다.
사실 자신은 없고요. 지면은 여기서 지겠구나 생각이 들고, 근데 반대로 조성주 선수 이기면은 결승까지 가서 충분히 올라갈 수도 있다고 생각하기 때문에 재밌게 했으면 좋겠고 이상입니다.
Well, I'm not confident at all, but you know, if I get knocked out, then it is what it is. So, but that being said, if I get to beat Morrow, then I think I have a high chance to getting to finals. So, yeah, I'll do my best.
I would agree with that.
Okay, thank you very much to Ryung for joining us for an interview. Good luck in the next series.
This
Before we go to a break, guys, we want to give a shout out to our sponsors here at the RSL. We are, of course, joined by Archon Studios, who've been with us.
This reminds me so much of ANZ Champs. For those who don't know, ESL they sponsored basically GSL in Australia for a couple of seasons, for a couple of years. I was fortunate to be a part of that. It reminds me of it because I remember being like in quote unquote sort of shoes where you're there and you have time to come up with like a question, but like I would always want to try to make it like a little bit fun and maybe not too serious and give the player give them an opportunity to kind of like express themselves. Like I like especially because again, as we mentioned, like the games themselves are pretty straightforward. There's not really much like insight to provide here. I was talking about like maybe asking him about like the bunnies build, like the Hellion build. This is where you have fun with it and you be like, yo, okay, Ryung, so you've been streaming a lot recently, you've been casting a lot, and Crank's he's been talking he's been mouthing off about you a little bit, you know, talking about how old you are, how washed you are. Like, do you have anything to say to Crank, who's casting right now in Korean? Anything to say to him after beating Bunny? Do you have because for those who don't know, Ryung's a really cheeky kind of guy. Like Ryung, he can banter a lot. He does a lot of banter whenever he streams, whenever he casts with Crank as well. Like, he's actually a really expressive guy. Like, give him those moments to be a little bit more expressive, to be a little bit more cheeky. Especially with Crank casting as well, like you can get a lot out of that. I feel like have fun with it, buddy. Have fun with it. But looks like Jesus, extended break, 14 minutes. What the hell? Oh my god, we're gonna be here all day. So it looks like they have a 14-minute timer for the next series. Jesus, the players need some time to set up. It's a little bit understandable, a little bit. I don't know if you noticed, but Solar and Rex, they were the other series that was happening at the same time. They ended a lot sooner, and you would hope that the next set of players would be getting ready once those PCs freed up. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't do that. Hard to say, but obviously the players need some time to set up because there's only 4 PCs on stage. So only 2 series are happening at once. So you can argue that maybe they can only start setting players up once the previous series finishes, so they need extra time. I would hope that Reina and Jumi would have been getting ready once Solar and Rex finished. Like, as soon as they're done, bam, you like send them up. I don't know if they did that. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But it does mean that there's a higher chance there's going to be longer breaks because the players need to set up on the stage every single time. It's a bit of a limitation that they have just because of the PCs that they have available, but that does most likely mean longer breaks. So with that, we're going to be going on a break. We'll be back soon, TM, with our next series. It is going to be Rainer versus Jumi. We mentioned this previously. For those who were not here for it, Jumi is a part of Streamer Zone, and Streamer Zone did fly players over to Korea to compete. Streamer Zone, they've been investing a lot into their team, and they even flew a bunch of players over to the Americas, if you remember, to compete in Stellarfest and in SC for All. So Streamer Zone, they've been flying their players around a lot. So flying their players over to the Americas, to Canada, to US of A, and also here to Korea as well. They flew over Jumi and Geralt. So Jumi and Geralt, they are in Korea. They're going to be there to compete, to rep Streamer Zone. SOS is going to be there as well. I think Nightmare as well. All the Streamer Zone boys. So it's really cool to see that the team is supporting their players in such a way. So that's why there is a little bit more international representation in RSL. A little bit more. And obviously Rainer has been there for like 2 months? A month and a half? It's been there for a while in Korea. So in chat, I see prize pool is 10k. How's it distributed? Exclamation mark B in the chat to get a link to the Korea page. Even he thinks it's an upset light. Huge. True. Crazy. Catching up. Elect doesn't win games. Ryung wins games. That's what he's saying. True. Estes in Sklar. For now, though, again, we're going to be going on a break. 10 minutes now. 10-minute break. So take this time to get some snacks, get some food, get some water, drain your disruptors, massage your marines. Again, this is going to be a long broadcast. It looks like they plan on casting every single series. I say casting every single series. There's the B stream as well. So alongside the B stream, I believe every series will be casted. So that's going to be a lot of games, considering they're all at least best of 5s. So a lot of matches, a lot of games. Going to be a long day of StarCraft. Make sure you're ready for it. Oh boy. So we'll see you soon. See you soon after the break.